That was The Taming of Smeagol. I don't know who Smeagol is. I'm so sorry. I feel like he's a bad guy. I feel like Smeagol is a bad guy. I feel like he's a weird monster. I feel like he's like almost like Gollum. This is the passage, no sorry, the Riders of Rohan. Put it up a bit. It's a lot more chill. It's like, oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye. Hello everyone. So, I'm very, very excited to make this video because I feel like it's something that I'm going to look back on and just laugh at myself and my naivety and how wrong I am. I've been reading this book. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like, you know, it's whatever, like, you know, I'm sure some people have heard of it. It's got a few fans around the world, a couple of movies.
By the way, I don't say couple literally. Like when I say couple, I actually mean a few, but I know a couple means two, but whatever.
I don't know, like J.R.R. like Rowling, J.K. Tolkien. I don't know. It's just it's this one here. The Lord of the Rings. Story time. I'm reading this book for the very, very first time in my life. I'm so excited because I feel like, okay, the best way to describe this
is that, you know when you're friends with someone on social media but you've never met them in real life, and then you meet them in real life and you're like, oh, I feel like I already know you. That's how I feel about The Lord of the Rings.
Like, I feel like I am the kind of person who already loves this book, who, I mean, not that I know a lot of the book, but I feel like I know a lot about the book even though I don't. And I just feel like me and this book are already really, really good friends even though I haven't read it. That's the closest analogy I have. So this is part one. So the whole book was originally I don't know why I'm telling you, like everyone knows this, but the original book was like one big book. But because there's 3 parts to it, they have split it up into book 1, book 2, book 3, which I like. It makes it a lot less intimidating. I am on page 96. That's it. And there's like 400 and something pages in just this first copy. It's a massive one, but I'm really excited. How do we go into this? Okay, so basically I just wanted to talk about some thoughts on Lord of the Rings, some thoughts on what I've read so far, and then most of this video is going to be my predictions for the rest of this book. Now, so my history with this trilogy is pretty much non-existent. My best friend is obsessed with this. She's watched all of them and loves them, and her entire family loves them, and her family are like my family, so I just feel really weird about the fact that I haven't watched them. Now, the weird thing is, most people feel like I've watched the films and read the books. I think the reason they think this is because A, really recently, for the past like couple of years, I've been hugely into fantasy, and so everyone's like, oh, you're into fantasy, you've read The Lord of the Rings. B, I'm like a huge fan of language, and I know that Tolkien is look, I even have, hang on, bear one sec. This book here, The Road to Middle Earth, which is all about the poetry of languages and of myth that Tolkien uses throughout the book. And I basically don't want to read this until I've read this because I feel like it might have some spoilers in it, and I don't want spoilers. But I'm really interested in languages and linguistics in general, so I'm really fascinated to read this after I read this. When I was a kid, I had a teacher who read The Hobbit to us, and it was my favorite time of the day because it would be reading time, and she would make us all sit down in the classroom and she would read aloud from The Hobbit. And of course some kids would be, you know, messing around and whispering and stuff, but I was so entranced and enchanted by the story. I hung on to every single word. I freaking loved that time of the day. And I think that's probably led into my total denial of the fact that I haven't read Lord of the Rings. So I actually literally have no idea what happens in this story. This is the kind of series that is so iconic that nobody bothers to talk about it in specifics. People just quote random parts of it. So like, I know random quotes like, one doesn't simply walk into Mordor. Fool of a Took. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. But I don't know what Isengard is. Do you know what I mean? So it's like one of these things where like I can quote enough.
Okay, so another thing that shook me, so it's called The Lord of the Rings, and I didn't realise The Lord of the Rings was freaking Sauron. I don't know if that changes later on in the book and like someone else becomes the Lord of the Rings, but I didn't know that the whole premise of the story was that these rings belong to Sauron. Like I didn't know this, so now I'm like, what? So this is actually named after like the villain of the whole book. Mind blowing. Anyway, so yeah, Bilbo's left the Shire, he's left the ring with his cousin Frodo, but then Gandalf has come in and Gandalf's been like, yo, Frodo, you in danger, bro, like you need to leave the Shire too. So Frodo's left with his friends. Let me just double check the names of the friends. Oh my gosh.
Pippin and Sam, and they're all kind of going on this very sort of reluctant adventure because Gandalf has basically told them that Sauron is searching out this ring, and as they've started walking, they're being followed by these mysterious black riders who are servants of Sauron. I think after this, they've got to meet Bilbo. Okay, so Bilbo's gone off. We haven't heard from him in a while. Gandalf's also kind of disappeared. We haven't heard from him. I think we're going to meet Bilbo along the way. And I think because before Bilbo left, he was kind of getting a really close attachment to the ring. And Frodo hasn't tried on the ring yet, but I feel like before they meet Bilbo, Frodo's going to try on this ring. And I think Frodo's going to start getting a really strong attraction to this ring as well. So I think when the two cousins meet, instead of it being a joyful reunion, they're going to actually start fighting over this ring and who gets to own it. Because Bilbo's going to be all like, well, technically it's mine. I brought it back. And then Frodo's going to be all like, well, you know, you left it for me. Da 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 da. And Gandalf said, you can't have it. And then Bilbo's going to get all angry and they're going to have this massive fight. So I think the parties are going to split again. And that Sam Gamgee's just quite loyal, so I think he's gonna stay with Frodo. Pippin might go with Bilbo, and I think we're gonna have a split of parties. And I think Bilbo's gonna end up with the ring because Bilbo's pretty like he's determined and a little bit stubborn, so he's gonna end up with the ring. This could be so wrong. And then I think what's gonna happen is Frodo's gonna be like, oh, I'm never speaking to Bilbo again. But then Bilbo's gonna get captured by one of the Black Knights, and they're gonna start taking him over to Mordor. And Frodo's gonna be like, oh no, I now need to save my wonderful cousin whom I love so dearly. So then him and Sam are gonna go back and try and capture Bilbo from the Dark Knight. And as they do so, I think Frodo's quite smart. He's gonna know that he can't do this by himself. They are the Dark Knights after all. So he's gonna summon the council of some of the elves. And for whatever reason, the elves will help him. I think the elves are gonna help because they know that if the ring gets into Sauron's hands, Sauron can like rule over like all of the whole of Middle Earth, right? So the elves are like, okay, fine, we'll help. I don't know what the elves do so far. Like, I don't know, do they have like any magical powers? I feel like they don't have magical powers. We met them, they didn't seem to have much magical powers. Maybe they'll just give him a little bit of a glimpse of the future and he'll be like, oh no, maybe I should get Gandalf. But I think Gandalf's gonna be nowhere to be found still because Gandalf is just being useless. So I think Frodo is going to sneak into Mordor, and I feel like that's when we're gonna go get that quote, which is like, one doesn't simply walk into Mordor. Well, you know what, it's part one, so it can't all be resolved. So I think it might end with, what, this whole book? I don't know, I think it might end with Frodo having snuck into Mordor and found Bilbo. And I think Bilbo, I think they're gonna manage to escape thinking that they have the ring, but somehow they drop the ring and that's where this ends. So they drop the ring somewhere in Mordor, so now the ring is like lost somewhere. And I think that at some point Gandalf is going to come in, but he's going to come in at like a very like inconveniently late point in time, and then they're going to need to escape from Mordor, and then I think some eagles are going to come in and save the day, because if there's one thing I've heard about reviews from this book is that there's eagles ex machina and the eagles just come in and save the day at random points in time. So that is my prediction for this book. Basically they're going to leave the ring in Mordor, Frodo and Bilbo are going to have a massive fight, and Gandalf will basically just pretty much be useless 99% of the time. That is my prediction. So from watching The Hobbit, I know that there's orcs. So I think the orcs are going to come in. Now I think the orcs are, I don't know who the orcs are. They're obviously bad guys, but like, what do they want? What is their motivation? They're not like dragons. The dragons want the money. Sauron wants control of Middle Earth. What do the orcs want? Maybe the orcs, maybe they're just predators, right? So the orcs just want to like devour people. So maybe orcs start coming in because Sauron now has this third ring. Sauron finds it, and then he starts calling in all these like dark creatures. So like the orcs, and do we have massive spiders? I don't know. I'm gonna say there's massive spiders. And dragons, and they all start coming into Middle Earth, and all the hobbits are really scared, and the hobbits all start blaming Bilbo, and they're like, you brought this all upon us, and there's like a mini like hobbit uprising. But then Bilbo's like, yo dudes, it's okay, I'ma lead us into freedom. But deep down he's low-key like, Gandalf, where are you? I need some help. And then Bilbo is gonna meet all his like elf friends, you know, like oh, this is bad, I don't know their names, like Thorin. So like Thorin and Oakenshield, yeah, that's the name. And then I don't know any others. Let's look up some names of elves in... Oh, I was gonna actually say Elrond, but then I wasn't sure. No, I think I'm incorrect. I don't mean these ones, I mean like Thorin. Is Thorin not an elf? Oh, the dwarves, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I feel like this video was a mistake, man, because I feel like Lord of the Rings super fans are gonna hate me right now. But I will be on the same page as you once I finish reading this. I typed in name of dwarves and it came up with name of dwarves in Snow White. I can tell you those.
This quick Google search has made me more confused because there's a lot of characters. There's orcs, there's dwarves, there's hobbits, there's elves, there's wizards. Are there witches? Are there witches in this book? I know this is a very male-heavy book, and in the films it's also a very white male-heavy book, but I feel like I know there's definitely one female character, because I've seen a female character with long hair, and I think she's an elf. Are there more? Comment below, tell me if there's more, but do so without spoilers, because I can't deal.
So yeah, so those are my guesses. I hope I was somewhat on the mark. I hope I got at least 1 or 2 facts down. We'll find out, won't we? I'm really excited to finish reading it. I will let you know my thoughts once I've finished book 1. We'll do a little book discussion. And then I'll do the same for book 2 and book 3, and then we'll watch the movies together, and you can watch a noob transform into a knowledgeable LOTR fan. Yes. Okay, bye guys, see you later, have a good week.